From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy.
Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. My name is Caleb Schweiss.
And I am Joseph DeGolier.
And today we will not be interviewing Daniel Burke.
What happened?
Final Fantasy VII thing. Initially, we didn't have contact info, so we were going to do it last night, and we didn't get a hold of each other in time because of the giant time difference between the two of us. Mm-hmm. And we corresponded to redo it this morning, 10 a.m. our time, 5 p.m. his time, and he just never got on, so we were never able to do the interview. I'm still looking forward to someday interviewing this man about his project, but
what was his project again?
It was called the Beacause Project, based on that part in 7 where it's like, Beacause, you're a puppet. Mm-hmm. You know, and Sephiroth is talking to Cloud.
And what did he do?
He retranslated the entire game over like a 5-year period, and it's crazy.
So pretty impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. Yeah. And he's got lots of mods. They've got a higher def version, which of course is coming out anyway, but they've had it for a while, and their forum is like Quim, QHIMM forum, something like that. If you just type in Beacause Project, that'll be the first tab that pops up in Google, but it's really interesting. And rather than going through all of his entire forum, I was hoping to just talk to the man himself, but it didn't work out this week. So instead,
we'll try something else again.
Yeah, we'll try to get a hold of him at a later time, but because that would be a really interesting interview, I feel.
It would be really cool.
I mean, there's so many great questions to ask this guy, but as of right now, we are going to be doing Mythic Origins of the Summons, Part 2 or 3 technically, but
yes,
named the other one Part 1, so whatever.
So we have Mythic Origins of the Summons, which was a mini-sode a long time ago.
Right, in August when we had our Let's Do One Every Day.
And then Mythic Origins of the Summons 1.
Yes.
Okay.
So
it was 5 days a week. It wasn't every day.
Oh, that's a lot.
It was a lot. It was our back-to-school special.
Yeah.
Kind of want to do it again this August, but...
Oh, dude. That'd be sick.
It's up to you. Yeah, actually, no, it's up to us, but...
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
On it.
So where are you in 12 right now?
Oh, let's see. Where am I in 12? Oh, that's right. I'm doing all the hunts right now. And the reason behind that is because I've got Redis in the party, the Sky Pirate, and I kind of want to do... Yeah, I kind of want to do all the hunts and the extra items with that 4th person in my party. So right now I'm in the... whatever the hell that area is called. It's like the last area right before Redis dies. It's on that island. Okay. And there's the giant floors you got to go up, and you got to activate the elevator and get the black orbs and all of that crap. So I've been doing a little level grinding there, but for the most part, I've been doing all the hunts that I can. And I've got, I think, 15 to 17 of them done right now. So it's going through them pretty well. And of course, I've got eventually I'll upload all of those to a file on YouTube, and you guys can go in and just like watch how I killed the hunts. But I messed up on a bunch of them. There's a few where I forgot to go activate the hunt or talk to a specific person before going.
You stupid hunt.
So I had to go back, yeah. It was really dumb. And then there was one where I had to do a side quest to unlock the Barheem Passage again. And it took like 2 hours to do this friggin' side quest. I had to like go back and forth with items. And I was like, oh my God. I just wanted to do the hunt. I wanted to take 20 minutes, kill this guy, but it turned into 2 hours. And then I got the summon in the area too. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to kill this guy too.
Nice.
So it was cool. What about yourself? Where are you in 12?
I just finished the stuff with Fran and her village.
Oh, nice.
I can't remember what the village is called.
Ureet Village.
Ureet Village. So that's the section of the game I'm in. I am way behind you.
Yeah.
Way behind you. I did do a couple hunts, though, because I was trying to get some money.
Mm-hmm.
Money's really hard to come by in FF12.
It is. You basically have to pick up the little baggies of loot and go sell it.
That's right, and they don't sell for that much either.
Not really. There's certain enemies in the areas that will have a higher drop, but Caleb was talking about some item you can get in the Muthru Bazaar and that's the one in Ravenaster, you know, that big bazaar area where the game starts out when he steals the guy's pouch.
Yeah.
How bizarre. arms. But no, there's an item you can buy there that will give you better drops. It'll give you better items that come from the enemies. So I think both of us should go back there and see if that's something that's available at this point in the game. Because I haven't.
That's a good idea.
And you finally went into that clan Centurion thing, didn't you? The guy with the...
I did, and he had like one item for sale. Am I thinking of the right place?
No, you're thinking of the clan area where the guy gives you a bunch of rewards for all the people you've killed.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do that before when you played the game?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
He is pretty awesome, yeah.
Gives you teleport stones, which you can't actually get right now because you're not up to the... What is it, Balfenheim is where you get those? There's like a merchant that's on a chocobo that'll sell them to you. So like... When you're teleporting back and forth, I was like, oh man, I hope he doesn't get stuck, because I honestly have no idea where you'd be able to find
No,
those.
I knew I had enough stones. Yeah, I got the stones for it.
Nice.
I could take on that challenge.
Big old stones.
Yeah. All right, so if you're joining us for the first time, just to let you guys know, you can find us, this whole show, this fiasco that we have here. We're at youtube.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy. We are also on Twitter at UFF Podcast, so make sure you follow us there. We are also on Facebook, facebook.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy. You can support us on Patreon, which we hit the $150 mark last week.
Yes.
And so that's why we're doing live Twitch streams right now. So if you have the time on Saturday mornings, go ahead and join us here.
Mornings.
It's probably around noon. Noon Mountain Standard Time, I think, is what we're going to shoot for.
Yeah, that should be about right.
Yeah. And you can find us on Twitch. Is it just twitch.com/ or twitch.tv
/Ultimate Final Fantasy.
/Ultimate Final Fantasy. And all of this information, including our forums, is found on our website, ultimatefinalfantasy.com. Shall we get to the news, Schweiss?
I think we should.
Okay, let's get to the news. All right, so first up in news this week, a little bit more information on World of Final Fantasy. Apparently, the battle system and story are going to be inspired by older Final Fantasy games. And one thing I read in this article from Silicon Era that I got really excited about, they're bringing back the active time battle system, at least a variation of it in this World of Final Fantasy game. So kind of even more of like a throwback of a game. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I've always kind of preferred the active time battle over the turn-based combat. So I'm kind of excited for that.
And little bit of more Final Fantasy VII Remake news. I guess there was a small interview with him, or they asked him a question whether or not he was going to add characters or anything like that, and apparently they're not.
Okay,
Nomura said no more new characters for Final Fantasy VII, which makes me feel just a little bit better about a Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay.
How would you feel if they added characters?
I mean, I'd be fine with adding characters from maybe Advent Children that were in the game originally, but maybe like the dudes in the black. I think that would be cool, because I think that's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be the failed experiments, and that's what they are in Advent Children. So they could tie them in like that, but adding new characters, that'd be kind of weird. Unless it was like a new character to get to a new dungeon, which I think would be fun if they added different content.
I guess expanding character stories, probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, they could even use the existing characters to unlock those, to have like little side quests to get a new area or whatever. And that way you don't have to just grind in the Northern Cave at the end on the little AP guys and the magic pots.
So Nomura's pretty busy doing press, apparently, for all this stuff, because we got a little bit more information on Kingdom Hearts 3. Apparently, it's going to have mostly new worlds, so I know, Caleb, you never played Kingdom Hearts, but basically you're going from world to world. They're like just selected Disney worlds mostly, in which you follow a story path through that world, and you like save the day there,
right,
and then move on to the next thing. And they're usually taken from Disney movies. And what they're saying here is that instead of going back to the worlds that we've seen, a lot of them, most of the worlds are going to be new. Most of the worlds are going to be ones we haven't seen before, and that just supports the fact that we saw like the world of Tangled in the last Kingdom Hearts trailer. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, there have been some great Disney movies in the last few years, so
Yeah.
that'll be fun to explore their worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3.
And they also have a release window that's been internally decided, but we don't get to know what that is.
Okay, well, that's
I'm
a good
sure
sign.
all their games have release windows internally decided.
Yeah, but they,
I mean, would you really start a game and be like, okay, we're not going to push for anything. You guys just go and have fun. We'll wait 15 years for you guys to get the game done.
well, technically, Versus 13 is kind of that way. If they had a deadline, it wasn't anytime soon.
Yeah,
but
I guess Nomura maybe needs some deadlines.
maybe, I don't know. I can't imagine if I were Square Enix or any gaming company just being like, all right, guys, here's an idea. Just let us know when you got something. Mm-hmm. Just keep paying them for waiting to let us know. That'd be kind of strange.
Yeah, I do have one more piece of news that I found here. That most of the news this week was provided by Shinru, so thank you, Shinru. One more piece of news here. When you told me that there was a new Final Fantasy game announced, what did you tell me that it was called?
Final Fantasy Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the...
It was World of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Adventure is, of course, a old spin-off game for the Final Fantasy series that eventually became the Mana series, as it's called. So like Dawn of Mana and, I don't know,
Legend of
blah, blah,
Mana.
blah of Mana. That whole series of games started with Final Fantasy Adventure for, I believe it was the Game Boy?
It was Game Boy.
Okay. It was Game Boy. It looks like we're going to have a new Final Fantasy Adventure game called Rise of Mana, I believe. I mean, this is coming from this trailer here that's in Japanese. So let's take a look at this trailer, shall we?
Yeah.
It was really odd when I looked up Final Fantasy news this morning, and I was like, Final Fantasy Adventure?
Yeah.
So in a way, you were right.
I'm a prophet.
There was a new Final Fantasy Adventure game. Ah! Okay, there we go. So, looks like some characters from the old Final Fantasy Adventure, which I've never played. Have you ever played Final Fantasy
I
Adventure?
have not played a moment of it.
But we will get to it later on in this playthrough of all the Final Fantasy games. That's for sure.
They brought back the no-nose concept. It's really weird.
Yeah. So it looks like a...
Oh, no, he has a nose.
No, he doesn't.
Not from the front.
They do look like character models from like the Final Fantasy III and Final Fantasy IV DS remakes.
Yeah, they're not as fat, though. They don't have, like, the big beer guts.
That's true.
Which is probably the thing that bothers me the most about them.
So, it looks interesting. I don't really know much about Final Fantasy Adventure except that it exists. But we certainly will get to that series. And let me see if I can see this here. Let's see. It's not clear whether or not it's like a remake or if it's another addition to the series. It's just not. I believe it's a remake, though. It looks like a remake.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they're featuring old characters, and that's really the only way I can make sense of that. So,
All right. Well, shall we get to our discussion, Caleb?
yeah, let's do it.
All right.
All right, so today we will be discussing Mythic Origins of the Suns.
Returning to this nice subject.
Yeah, very.
People tend to like these things.
Yeah, I enjoy them too. I mean,
So,
it's informative.
So what ones are we going over today?
All right, so today we're going to go over Anima, whatever.
Anima?
Yeah, Anima. That's how it is to me when I was fighting the guy.
Yeah.
Crusader / Jihad. Apparently, that was his initial name from FF6.
Okay.
And Bismarck.
All right.
Which is more of a... Info on Bismarck is more of a theory.
Okay.
But it seems pretty solid.
All right. So where'd you get this information from?
Final Fantasy Compendium.
A great Final Fantasy site that unfortunately stopped updating.
It's true. They have a lot of information. They've got pretty good sources. I mean, it's fantastic. I wish our site was anywhere near as awesome as theirs, but
it could be at $200 a month on Patreon.
Yeah. That's yeah. So, Anima in general, the inner self of an individual to psychologist. A psychologist.
C.G. Jung?
Yeah, C.G. Jung.
Okay.
Jung. And the female side of the male psyche.
It's hard to not call him Jung, by the way, when reading his name.
Yeah, it is weird. The Latin meaning of anima is soul, spirit, ghost, breath of life, breath of air, wind, breeze. So it's like a weird inner psyche thing. And I think that plays a lot into 10 because it's his mom, and she died and she became a summon to help Seymour, but it didn't really work, and she's kind of evil.
The female side of the male psyche. Okay. Yeah, that definitely does work for that.
Yeah, with the double side of Anima too. That was pretty cool.
Soul, spirit, ghost, breath of life. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
more like breath of death, but
yeah, it's a lot of death, especially when you get pulled down below. Oh God.
Yeah.
So did you use Anima much when you played 10?
The only time I ever got Anima was this playthrough of 10.
Okay, so you never actually got all the extra items in the temples before?
No, not before, and I don't think I think I did summon her once just to see what it was like. I didn't really use her, no.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, there were a few times when I was doing the summoner battles that I would have to use Anima to win. I mean, there's late game stuff in that temple of the Remium temple place where you did the Chocobo race. If you go inside there, you have the summoner battles.
Oh yeah.
And I used Anima on a few of them.
Okay.
I mean, if I had Yojimbo,
I think I might have done that.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I think I used Anima a lot on those.
Yeah, I think it was a really cool summon, especially the summon animation. The first time you see it, you're just like, oh man.
Yeah, it's an incredible summon.
Yeah, that thing is a
probably
freak.
One of my favorite summon animations after, of course, the Final Fantasy XV demo summon animation.
Yeah.
Which is about the most epic thing ever.
I'm kind of excited to see Knights of the Round in
the remake of FF7.
And hopefully you can skip it after the first few times, because it's really cool, but it's like 4 minutes of cutscene or something like that.
All right.
And if you have the ability to duplicate your casting of it, I mean, you'll do a ton of damage to the thing, but it's going to take you like half an hour. So I hope they kind of implement 12 and 13 skip scene thing.
Okay.
Once again. All right, so the second one, Crusader, or Jihad in the Japan version. So this guy is from FF6. He's an Esper, and apparently the original calling of his name, it was Jihad, and I mean that just means crusade. So in English,
so it means the same thing.
It means the same thing, but they translated it.
I'll put a jihad on you.
The reason why they changed it is because sometimes jihad, I mean, obviously is translated as holy war, and they changed that for the U.S. version because of because they didn't want Americans to think it was a Islamic Jihad. Apparently, when they hear the name, that's what a lot of people think. They were afraid of that.
Early censorship of like the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, based
like
on what
pre FF7, there seemed to be a lot of censorship of the FF games.
Yeah, like there's a lot less Christian motifs. And
yeah,
stuff
I remember they
games.
took the crosses off of the churches.
Yeah, it's
and
weird.
There was like some mild nudity with some of the summons, and they covered that up.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It is, and I mean,
it's okay to call them jihad. No one's going to be super offended at it.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. And I mean, jihad in Arabic means the cosmic battle between good and evil.
Okay.
So according to, I guess, to Islam, everyone fights that battle within their own minds. So like it's kind of like the evil, the angel, and the devil on your shoulder kind of thing. Like, well, this decision seems right, this seems wrong. So it's not nearly as intense as Western culture sees it. When I see like a here's your jihad sign with like an M16 on the bottom of it, I'm like, oh, geez, dude. So like, they changed it for censorship essentially.
It's a holy. If it's also holy war is another
It's another term of it, another
Another usage of that word.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Jihad / Crusader.
I'm not sure what that has to do with the summon.
I don't know, but that's just the origin of the name of the summon. And I didn't really use the summons that much in 6. So
okay.
I don't really remember. I remember getting him.
I know this might be a little complicated, but could you pull up a YouTube video of Jihad or of Crusader? I think it'd be interesting to see because I'm trying to remember which summon exactly that is.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
So let's look at it. So Caleb's going onto YouTube here. He's going to show me who. So just type in Crusader FF6, and let's see. So it looks like it's here's a video here. All right. So he's going to summon it. Oh.
I think I did use this guy.
Okay.
1 or 2 times.
It's like the multiple dudes and they hit everybody?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever got that summon.
I think we probably did. I mean, the thing with 6 though is
oh wait, yeah, we did get all the summons in 6, didn't we?
Yeah, well, except for the one. We missed Leviathan.
Yeah, we missed Leviathan, but I did get all the others. I guess I never used that one. That is interesting though. So I think actually it probably, because there's like multiple of them and they're hitting everybody, it probably does mean Holy War. I think it's probably that usage of it.
Yeah, they're like kind of like a knight or something like that.
I don't know. They're all attacking, and there's a group of them. That's what I think. It's less of a guy defeating his own evil spirits.
Yeah, I know.
And more of a war. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Look to that animation of Crusader. So if you guys are lost like me, just type Crusader FF6, and there's a 15-second video if you want to be reminded what that summon is.
Yeah, I mean, because most of us, we all know, eventually you get so OP that the summons are just there for the abilities.
It's true. The summons usefulness per game, in most of the FF games, summons aren't really useful late game.
Yeah, no, I mean, and well, like with you and Belias, you summoned him and you were tearing stuff apart, but it's also early game still. And by the time you get late game, I didn't even touch most of the summons that I went out of my way to get because I got them and I summoned them a couple times and was like, oh, this is cool. But I could throw out Pinello with the Genji glove on and do twice as much in half the time.
Well, I mean, there are like super summons though. Like Yojimbo is probably a super summon that's really useful, or Knights of the Round.
Yeah, Yojimbo and Knights of the Round would be another one. Yojimbo probably more so because he will just kill it if you give him enough gil.
And apparently if you level your summoner up all the way in FF5, Bahamut is the way to go. So instead of using gil toss all the time and miming that, someone summons Bahamut, and then you mime Bahamut. I tried doing it for my FF5 playthrough, if you remember correctly, but he didn't do as much power as he was supposed to be doing, and it's because my summoner wasn't leveled up all the way.
I didn't even mess with summoner in that game. I went like straight for gil toss and some of the power.
Gil toss for the win, that's for sure. I didn't want to do that, but I eventually just ended up doing that.
I did. I wanted to do it from the beginning because of 4's brutality. All right, so the last one today is Bismarck. Now, this one is more of a theory. Essentially, they say that it could be based on the Prussian ruler in the late 1800s, Otto von Bismarck. Of course, we can play as him in Civ 5, I believe.
Yes, I believe we can.
Yeah, the German character. Apparently, there was a battleship named after him that was sunk in 1941, and this could be the inspiration for the effect of the Bismarck summon, the Esper. It's Sea Song.
Okay,
remember, and
that's the thing he does.
Yeah, that's his the name of his ability. He was the Chancellor, but not the King of Prussia. But I mean, it kind of seems like sort of Japanese style, where you've got the Emperor, and then you've got the shoguns, and the shoguns are like way more powerful, and the Emperor is just kind of like, well, if you guys do this, we have to do it, kind of a thing. And that's how it feels like with Bismarck, based on his history.
Okay,
he was the effective ruler of Germany, since the Kaiser at the time was a figurehead, essentially. So I think the water ability that he has, it does tie into that.
It probably ties in with the ship more than the
guy himself.
the dude. Yeah. Okay.
But Bismarck, I don't think he was used outside of FF6. At least I don't believe so.
Okay.
I know Alexander was one that has been continual and, one of those ones that I don't ever really think about. But Bismarck, I was kind of weird when we got him in 6. I was like, I kind of want to play Civ now. Get that German Führer ability in that game.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's pretty awesome.
This is some really cool stuff. I think the Anima one is the most eye-opening for me.
Yeah, with just thinking about the summon animation. And...
Well, just thinking about like the meaning behind the summon and, the female side of the male psyche from Jung. That's really interesting stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it's cool.
I really like it. I mean, there's a lot more to these games than what you see just on the surface. You just see weird name and you're like, oh, cool, I'll roll with that. But when you actually look into it, there's quite a bit of back history and lore when it comes to the names that they choose for these summons or characters or whatever it may be. So they know what's up as far as names go.
Okay.
And yeah.
All right,
got
man.
a lot more.
Well, just to let you guys know, this week we are trying to stay under an hour because we do have a small amount of space left on our server hosting for the month.
True.
So we're going to go straight to questions. Shall we begin, Schweiss?
Yeah.
We have a very interesting question, a question we were scared of answering
it was
for
tough.
many weeks, but we're going to do it this week.
All right, let's get to it.
All right. Yeah, right. So our first question comes from Really511. Some Final Fantasy games can be really funny at moments. Which is the funniest? He votes 7, followed by Final Fantasy V. So what, in our opinion, so far, I'd say, has been the Final Fantasy game with the
most comic relief?
Comic relief or, funny, what's funny to you?
That is a difficult question.
It is a really difficult
because
question
I know
to answer.
Ultros is supposed to be comic relief in 6, but really he's just kind of annoying.
I completely agree. Yes.
And like Gilgamesh in 5 was awesome. And he was kind of funny too. I don't know. The
ending of Gilgamesh was like sad.
Yeah.
In FF5.
He was looking out for you though.
Yeah.
It was amazing. All right. Crap. I might have to say 12. And it's not that
Is it Balthier?
Well, Balthier is awesome. And he's pretty funny. He's got some nice one-liners where he's just like a jerk and he's like, well, I'm the main character here and whatever. But then there's also the hunt where you get Gilgamesh, and that is a really fun reaction and effect thing, because you beat him. Like when you beat him, he just like does this huge epic like it's like disappears or whatever.
Okay.
And like his hat or something falls to the ground, and then like your team is just walking away, and then Gilgamesh just like creeps in from the background and like grabs his hat and he just takes off, and Vaughn just looks back. And then everyone leaves. So like it's just ridiculous. He's like super over the top, and it was a lot of fun. And he had a lot of swords and stuff from past games. I think he had the gunblade on him. There's like he has a ton of swords. Like he's just loaded with all these callback things. I don't know if he ever uses the gunblade. I can't remember, but he's just got a bunch of them from the main games.
Is it just the one scene that really does it for you?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay.
And Balthier is kind of funny too. What do you think?
I like Balthier a lot. There are funny characters in the Final Fantasy games, like I don't know, like Sabin or Edgar. Like Edgar mostly, I think, like his womanizing in FF6 that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Zidane is a similar character, but there was like one part where he like touched Dagger's butt, which was a pretty funny part. I mean, I laughed out loud at that moment. Do you remember that?
Yeah. What about the scene where Vivi and Quinniquen get married?
That's pretty funny.
Or wait, no, was it Vivian?
It was Vivian Quinniquin.
Oh, it was, yeah. That was hilarious to me. 9 had some pretty funny stuff, actually. And like when they're peeing off the wall or whatever at that one town, like he got Vivi to just take a leak over this ledge. He's like, this is like a becoming a man thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was some pretty good comedy.
I think FF9 is funny on purpose, but the one that's funniest to me, it's gotta be FF10. There's just so many there's so many unintentional things with the voice acting and the timing. James Arnold Taylor is a great voice actor, but sometimes his like his Titus sounds are inappropriate.
Yeah, no, and then the laughing scene, like that just cracks me up every time. Oh man,
the freaking laughing scene.
So yeah, 10 is a great one.
Still not sure if it's intentionally supposed to be funny, but the laughing scene is pretty rough to get through.
Yeah, I
and take it like seriously,
Yeah, man, there's a lot of them then.
Yeah.
So are you gonna go with 10 over 9?
There was a part in FF2, I believe, where like she was like gonna seduce like the
main guy.
The main guy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was you go.
I laughed at that part. I was like, "What? What's happening?"
Yeah, it's like, "Come to me," and I was like, "Whoa!" And then like she actually tries to, and I'm like, "Whoa, man!" And it turns out it's not her, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah."
Thought it was another sex scene in the game, in a Final Fantasy." But all right, so 10 is a pretty solid answer, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, 8's fun to make fun of, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah, but it's not
like chicken wuss.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in 8 that's like crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that question next with Kefka Plaza.
All right, so this one is, how do you feel about HP and attack increase over the game's progress? There's a few options. This one was a poll on the site.
Okay.
One of them is, doesn't bother me either way, seems unnecessary and could do without. Love it, makes battles longer and more interesting. No one voted for that.
Longer and stronger.
I disagree with your premise, and a ton of 9s on the last one.
On one vote. Okay, so I would like to read his question, though.
Okay, here's this question.
Because there's some interesting information there.
Okay, this is something I've been wondering about for a while. It seems like in the newer FF games, they all have bosses that have insane amounts of HP, as well as in the newer games, it's easier for your characters to hit the damage limit. I feel like the developers decided that people like to feel their characters are strong, so they made the amount of damage amount higher for newer games, but in turn, to not make all the boss fights over so quick, they pushed the HP to insane limits. Let's compare. FF1 Chaos, 2,000 HP. Okay. FF2 Emperor, 15,000 HP.
Which Emperor?
I think the final one. I don't know about that, though.
There's a million Emperors.
I think he had more life than that.
He might be talking about the original NES version.
He might be. Okay. FF3, Dark Cloud or Darkness, 65,000. FF4, Zeromus, 65,498. FF5, X-Death, 50K. FF6, Kefka, 62. Save for Sephiroth, 80 to 400,000. Ultimacia, 16.5 to 278.9. Good God. Necron, 54.1. Necron was way worse than Ultimacia. Well, sort of. Once you figure out how to fight Ultimacia, she's not hard. Once you survive the summon.
The Necron's a difficult battle, but I mean, I only had 2 tries.
So did I,
so
but
long.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's rough.
All right, so Braska's Final Aeon, 60 to 120. Undying.
60 to 120,000.
Yeah, 120,000. The Undying Vane, 228, 299. And FF13's Orphan, 3.39 million. Now, for the most part, you see an increase in HP other than a few exceptions. This is due to, of course, it being easier and easier to hit 9999 or higher, but in his opinion, the best Final Fantasy bosses were those that might not have had as high HP, but those that were simply more challenging due to their attacks. It also means no prolonged 2-hour fights, as is in the case with a lot of the FF10, FF12, FF13 secret and extra bosses. Since when did a long fight equal a fun fight? Much prefer the challenges of the older FF games in that sense. How do you feel about this trend? Okay. Would you mind seeing an FF game that made it harder to do max damage if it also limited the boss's HP to make the fight shorter?
There's kind of a balance thing. I mean, we talked about I feel like we had a similar question where they talked about just how all the numbers are just going higher and higher.
Yeah.
And this is a very similar question to that, but it did have that list of how many HP each final boss had, which is a very interesting thing to look at. It's interesting to see all of them kind of go up. They kind of bulge up, and then 13 really shoots.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what the damage limits in 14 are, like the final boss in 14's original story. Like, how much HP did that thing have versus how much damage would the average player be able to do at that point? I think that would be interesting to see also. It's not a trend that bothers me because most of the games have kept pretty balanced as far as, how much damage you're doing versus how much HP the final boss has. It's... Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't really want them to keep the HP limit on the final boss where it is and then have you be even weaker, because that would just make for a very clunky, long game like FF12.
Yeah.
I don't know, Caleb. What do you think about the trend?
I think it's okay. I mean, honestly, with 12, there are a lot of fights that take a while, but none of them are ridiculous and take forever to win. Like, there's usually a way... If you have a certain item to get rid of a certain disability or a status effect, you can pretty much beat the boss fine. It might just take a little while. Now, that doesn't necessarily make it fun, more fun or less fun. It just is. I mean, I don't mind having a long boss battle. It's kind of an epic thing. I kind of feel like I'm just taking on this god and I destroy him. So that's fine, but with 13, I do feel like it's a little ridiculous having like just millions of damage, like numbers flying all over the place. It doesn't actually hold any sort of value. And it's just there.
It's true, and it's kind of one of those things that set 13 kind of in a different direction, is the fact that there's just so much stuff on the screen when you're playing FF13. The numbers, they don't mean anything.
Yeah, there's no way to really comprehend what you're doing because you're attacking the hell out of this guy.
But it is visually appealing, I guess, like flashy. So they added that sort of aspect to it. I don't think it really affects the game so much. Because of the way Final Fantasy XIII's battle system is, where it's more about strategy, about getting things to stagger and then doing your damage.
Yeah.
Or, having to deal with status effects and stuff like that separately, where it's all like this team shift sort of a system. It doesn't, it's less about, I got 400 on that one.
Yeah, more about just, okay, I'm going to kill this guy now.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see them... maybe there's like an inflation and then there'll be a depression at some point, like like a recession. Maybe we'll recede back in Final Fantasy 16. We'll be back with the 9999 or
I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's as long as the game scales itself to a point where if you have to grind, it's only for like 30 minutes or so, maybe to go fight the next boss. It's a well balanced
and have it
game.
Be strategically challenging.
Yeah, like you got to have. You got to pull things out at the right time. You got to have items. Yeah, pull it out, guys.
You got to pull it out at the right time. Don't go too quick here.
No. And as long as you got the right equipment, you've got the right items. You pull out your quickenings at the right time for 12 or whatever it may be. As long as there's a strategy to it and it's not a ridiculous boss fight, I don't really care what's going on. It is kind of sad though when you got the numbers just like crazy and you're like, you just don't feel like it matters. You don't feel like, oh sweet. Like you were saying, I got 400 on that one. Like, you don't ever even think of that. You're like, okay, I killed the guy. Sweet.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's look at the voters, can we? And see how they felt about the trends. So the two options that got no votes, they love it. Make the battle longer and more interesting. And I disagree with your premise. They both got 0 votes. The one that was like all 9s, so I guess someone in favor of bringing the numbers way up, there's 1 vote for. Mm-hmm. Doesn't bother me either way, 3 votes, and seems unnecessary and can do without, got 4 votes. So most of the people on our forum that voted on this seem it either doesn't bother them or it just seems unnecessary and can do without.
Right. I mean, that almost brings us back to the question that was very similar to this one, that talked about how we felt about progression throughout the game of the damage increasing and the HP increasing. Mm-hmm. That's how it should be. Like it, even with Final Fantasy Tactics, where the most damage you do is like 100 or something like that, it still goes up, and the HP goes up a little bit too. just not as high of a scale. And I think it would be lame if you kept doing like 9, 10, 50, 100 damage or whatever throughout the whole game. It wouldn't feel like you're progressing at all.
Right.
The game there would be no level up. It would just be, you'd have to get better equipment to do that amount of damage. It wouldn't feel quite the same. I don't think I would like
agree.
that as much.
I think it's one of those things that make Final Fantasy feel like Final Fantasy. We talk about this a lot, about how a game just feels like it belongs in this series.
Yeah.
It's just the numbers 9999 because it's so prevalent throughout the early and mid games. It's just that's another thing that makes it feel like a Final Fantasy. So keeping that same kind of power surge, I guess.
Yeah.
Throughout the leveling up and throughout all the enemies and your max strength and stuff like that. I think FF10 is the first one to really break it. Actually, FF2 broke it from FF1. Because you can only have like level 50 in FF1, I believe. And
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, max damage was something different. So
yeah, and I mean, there's other ones like 3. Actually, you broke it; it just didn't show it. It only showed 9999. You could actually do 20,000 damage, but you'd only be able to know by looking at the enemy's health and seeing how much it has left after you hit it. So I mean, it's been there, but I don't know. 13 was the one that did that. After 10, 10 you got to go through a lot of crap to do it, but 12 you can hit 10 times, but it's still 9999, just like 6.
We never got max damage in 11, did we?
Oh no,
11's so shrunk as far as like damage goes. It goes against this trend quite a bit.
I hit over 1,000 in 11 a few times.
Yeah, over 1,000.
Yeah, but there's no limit. I don't think. I have no idea of one. I'm sure there's a.
It could be 99. Maybe when you get to level 99 and you get like the super equipment, it could be 9999.
It could be. Yeah, we may never know though. That's ridiculous.
We could know though. We gotta go return to those expansions.
Oh, we're just gonna have to go out in the first area and just hit like the bee, just kill its entire line. They just don't spawn anymore.
Yep.
Killed it so intensely.
All right, so our last question of the day. This is one I've been like made fun of. This is another one from Really 511 who asked a bunch of questions in a row, but this is a question I kind of wanted to answer today. I was like, I think today I'm ready to answer this one.
All right, so the question is top 9 games. What are your top 9 favorite games, not counting FF? And his list was Call of Duty, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, Resident Evil, Uncharted, Kingdom Hearts, Halo, Left 4 Dead, and Battlefield. Now, those are a lot of series. I hope Call of Duty 1 isn't his favorite. That thing is brutal.
The first Call of Duty?
Yeah, man. It's like sick.
I have that on my PS3, and like the first level is killing me.
They know who they need to kill. It's like crappy old AI where they're like, oh, that guy, if we kill that guy.
If there's a Call of Duty I really like as a game, it's Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare, the first one.
I never played through that one. I played through Modern Warfare 2 and on.
So good.
They've got really good stories as far as a shooter goes, but
yeah.
And there are epic moments at the very end of the
game. We are
going
to talk about some. So I'm wondering why he put 9, your top 9 favorite games. Is it because one slot is for Final Fantasy?
Maybe.
Must be. I'd put probably 3 Final Fantasy games up in my top 10. And we know what those are. Now, when we say top games, we don't mean what we think are the greatest games of all time. They're top games as in our favorite games.
Yeah, games that we've played that we really like.
Yeah. So our personal favorite. So, I don't know, Schweiss, you want me to go first or you?
Go for it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go through each one of these, and I'm going to tell you why I love these games so much. And I know this is off the topic of Final Fantasy, but just to remind you guys, the question segment is for any question for us.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be Final Fantasy questions, although Keep It Final Fantasy keeps the show a good theme.
Right.
Theme going on the show. All right, so in no particular order, Shadow of the Colossus. It's a really great game. Did you ever play Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah.
Yeah. A game, it's so interesting. It's not like very many other games or any other games that I'm aware of. You only have boss fights. They're super strategic. It's a gorgeous game. There's no like little creatures that you have to fight against on the way there. There's
There's the lizards, but that's for extra stuff. That's for more grip.
There's no real puzzles. It's so simple, and the story is like a quiet, beautiful story. If you haven't played Shadow of the Colossus, I think even a Final Fantasy fan would appreciate Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, it's got a good story.
It's good story. It's simple, much more simple than a Final Fantasy game, and it's an action game.
Yeah, it's an action adventure. It kind of feels like Zelda, like some of the later ones.
I don't know. It's just a gorgeous game. I think whoever the creator of the game is, I saw once on a comment that they called that creator. He made Ico also.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be another great game. I only played a little bit of Ico, but
it's good. I don't like it as much, but
he's supposed to be like the Terrence Malick of video games. So it takes him forever to make a game. They're really pretty and beautiful and strange. And
yeah, I don't know. There's some puzzle aspects. You got to figure out how to kill them, but it's usually not that crazy.
Yeah,
it's a really great game though.
It's so good, so good. Another one I have here: Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Okay.
I've talked about this game quite a bit on this podcast. Just a fantastic soundtrack, a fun game. I played it constantly when I got my PlayStation. So
yeah, it got me into a lot of good music.
Yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for the win.
Yeah, that's where I learned Rage Against the Machine's awesomeness.
Yeah, did you
Guerrilla Radio?
How much of the Tony Hawk games did you play?
I played the first one, the second one, and the fourth one.
Okay.
And I tried to play Underground, but
see, for me, it was about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and then Tony Hawk Underground.
Yeah,
like those were the two games I was really into.
4 was really good. It had some really good music in it. Had TNT.
Did you ever like make your own tracks and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a good, awesome concept.
My favorite one that I ever did was like just a grind bar. I made it like super thin and like a ridiculously long grind bar. Mm-hmm. And I loved making your own moves too, because I do like a 720 or a 960, and I'd make it like a 2-second duration. So my guy's just like spinning around like a crap ton. And as long as I have 2 seconds before I touch the ground, the move goes off. So, like, it doesn't matter if it's feasible or not at the speed I'm going.
I'm not sure if you can do that in Pro Skater 2, but that's awesome.
I think you can in 4, but...
Now, along with many of these games, there's something about video games for me. I'm less into, besides Final Fantasy, I'm less into playing single-player games. And for me, like, video games are kind of a social thing for me. Mm-hmm. And not social as in I'm playing with someone online somewhere else. I like playing in the room with other people. So like a LAN party when we all play Dota, or like a Halo party where in fact, I have a Halo party I'm going to tonight with like a bunch of friends from high school. A Halo party where we all bring our TVs over and our Xboxes over and link them up via the LAN. Those are great things. One of my favorite multiplayer games here, one of my top 9. Top 9. Mario Kart Wii.
Really?
Yes, I love Mario Kart Wii. Now, I love all the Mario Kart games except for maybe like the first one, and I don't really care for the N64 one. It just feels clunky to me, and I got into the series late. The first Mario Kart game I got really into was Double Dash, which I know is like a black mark on the series, so I guess I started low and went up higher. But for me, Mario Kart Wii, just like the tracks and... everything is just the way to go. Yeah. I love Mario Kart Wii. Not with the Wiimote. You got to use the GameCube controller.
Maybe that's why I hate it.
Did you only use the Wiimote?
I only use the Wiimote. Yeah,
that's a mistake.
Wii.
That's a mistake.
I hate it. Yeah. Like no one knows how to turn in that game. I swear to God, it's like the worst fucking thing in the world to try to take a corner with Donkey Kong. He's so fat that the weight it just doesn't shift. And that's why I hate the Wii one, is because they went too far with the customization. I love the simplicity of the originals, but at the same time, a more modern Mario Kart, they kind of have to. They got to adjust. So yeah, maybe the Wiimote just sucks that bad that I just can't play it.
The new Mario Kart is very similar to Mario Kart Wii, the Wii U Mario Kart, Kart 8, I believe. Is that the one?
Yeah. Is that not the one you're talking about?
Oh, no. I'm talking about Mario Kart Wii.
Oh, Mario Kart Wii is really good.
Yeah.
But Mario Kart Wii U, no.
No?
Trying to play it on the Wiimote. No,
the tracks aren't as good for that one, I feel.
The design is beautiful. But,
oh, yeah. Design's great.
But
finally in HD.
And I love
Way to go, Nintendo.
I love hearing Caleb squeal about getting screwed over.
Dude!
But I mean, that's any game, so it doesn't have to be Mario Kart.
All right, I got another one here. Civilization 5. Oh. I love strategy games, and there's another one on this list. Civilization 5, though, I believe is like it's like every beautiful strategy game I ever played, or every simulation game I ever played, all put into one beautiful package. And so I loved playing Civilization 4 when that was a thing, and I played a little bit of 3 myself. Did you ever play the other ones?
Nope, not a moment.
Okay, they're great.
That's what I've heard.
You got me into Age of Empires, which is a lot of fun. And then, of course, I was always big into Roller Coaster Tycoon, which almost made this list. Didn't quite. Zoo Tycoon, all those kind of tycoon games.
Yeah.
Not the Sim games, though, too much. Except for Sim City. It was pretty
yeah,
awesome.
SimCity's a lot like...
Yeah. But there's like Sim Roller Coaster and stuff like that. They're not as good as the tycoon games.
Yeah, no.
Which is unfortunate. But all those things are basically put into Civilization 5 plus battles and like science and all this other stuff. It's so cool.
It's an
so
amazing
cool.
game.
Such a great game. Another one I love is Donkey Kong Country. A lot of memories as a child going through Minecart Carnage and never being able to make that stupid jump. But I love that game. So good. Diablo 2. I have great memories on Diablo 2 playing with my friend Kyle Sanders. When he just brought his computer over, we played that together. And Diablo 2, I believe, was like the first rated M game my parents let me buy.
Oh, nice.
And so like it was like scary looking and like bloody and it's a really good game. Diablo 2, good game. Metal Gear Solid 3. I played Metal Gear Solid 3 first out of the Metal Gear Solid games because I knew it was a prequel.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I want to play them all in order. I still haven't gotten to the other ones. I have them all. But I played Metal Gear Solid 3 first, and I was blown away by that game.
Yeah, the story is incredible.
It's such a good story. And it's like so well done. And the gameplay, like, I would never think every sneak level in any other video game is so crappy.
Compared to that.
And then Metal Gear Solid is like all sneak. And it's fun.
Yeah.
All sneak and
awesome.
boss fights, you know?
And 3 is especially cool because you can like trap your food and just spend a lot of time playing the game. It's really fun.
And so I have another one on here. This is the other game, kind of like Civilization. This is Warcraft 3.
Oh, okay.
So like a good strategy game, really solid. I think as far as the single player aspects go, I probably liked Warcraft 2 a little bit more, but Warcraft 3 is a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to cheat on. And Dota, all the like mod games for that, but Dota especially, have so many memories of doing LAN parties with Dota.
All right, fair enough.
And then, of course, my last one is Halo 2 for obvious reasons, I think.
Halo 2's got a great multiplayer.
Halo 2, fantastic multiplayer, a really good single-player game. I think probably Halo, like the first Halo, is a way better single-player experience.
It is,
but as far as like the story is odd and interesting, and you didn't know anything about the Flood. Like Halo 1, when it came out, and I was a kid, it blew me away because I wasn't allowed to have video games as a kid. And so I went over to my friend's house and he had this game, and Halo 1 was just amazing. And the multiplayer was fun too, but Halo 2 just really took that multiplayer and just like went with it. It was incredible multiplayer.
Okay.
And just so many memories of Halo 2 mostly.
SWAT for the win, I say.
Halo 3 has a great multiplayer too, but
I think I like Halo 3's more, but the nostalgia for Halo 2 is great for me as well.
Yeah.
It was like the first one that I got into.
I have, because of Halo 2 and like Halo parties with my old high school buddies, I have 4 copies of Halo 2 ready to go in case anybody wants to play Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so my list of top 9 non-FF games, in no particular order, I'm going to start with God of War. Now, I know God of War is kind of a ripoff of the... It's kind of a hybrid ripoff of Prince of Persia to some extent, but mostly Devil May Cry. It's got a lot of the same things. You collect red orbs, you upgrade your guy, you get new items. But God of War, to me, is on like a whole new tier, whole different tier of awesome compared to Devil May Cry. I love the guy, the main dude, the sex mini games are amazing. There's like the little vase on the shelf, and you got to do a button combo, and the vase falls over.
You showed me
breaks.
that. That was pretty funny.
And the weapon upgrades, the Greek mythology, all of it. It's fantastic. And that's why I put that one on there. Another one I've got is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is probably the most fun I've ever had on my PlayStation 3. Playing that thing multiplayer, playing the single player. It had an amazing story. The game looked gorgeous. It had a killer downloadable
It looked like
content.
a lot of fun, I'd say.
Yeah, and
all these games that you have here, I pretty much never played them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the zombie mode was really cool. The story was engaging, and it's a Western Grand Theft Auto game, which is everything I have ever wanted after playing Gun. Played Gun, and I loved that game. Like,
did you say a Western Grand Theft Auto game?
Yeah, a Western.
Oh, like a Western, like.
Yeah, not like they're Japanese.
I was like, what?
Yeah, you'd just be blown away.
I didn't think Grand Theft Auto was Japanese. That's what I was confused about. Like a Western Grand Theft Auto? Okay.
No, but
because usually we say Eastern and Western when we're talking in this show about video games. We don't mean the genre of Western.
No, yeah.
We mean developers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's so many great memories doing side quests, taking over towns, shooting people in the face, and throwing tomahawks at my buddies. Like, oh man, there's some great moments where they're just like cusping over the edge of a hill on their horse, and I just lob it over there, and just I get the impact thing, and then I come over the hill, and Caleb's laying over there dead, and his horse is just still going. And,
nice.
Fantastic. All right, so the next one I have is probably one of the games that I've beaten the most, and it's Jak 3. Now, I tried to play Jak 1 and 2, and
I just got to get jacked.
Yeah, you do. I played all but one part of Jak 1 because I couldn't get like one of the eggs or whatever you have to get to advance. So I never beat that one. Jak 2 was brutal, beyond all comprehension. But when I got to the third game, it was just crazy. I love it. I love the open world feel of it. I love the gun upgrades. The characters are fun. The animation is funny. There's a lot of comic relief and pretty solid story. It's got you find out your dad is a guy you've been working with, and he dies right as you find out, kind of like Star Wars-y feel. And I love that. It's like friggin' awesome. It's campy as hell, but the game was incredible to me. And, of course, Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
Same reasons. That
great
was
game.
I played 3 after 1 and 2, and it still was better than 1 and 2.
A lot of people disagree. A lot of people are like Metal Gear Solid 1 for the win.
Metal Gear Solid 1 is really good, but the gameplay I liked way more in 3. Like, they had more technology. The story I thought was better. The stuff with Ocelot was incredible in that story. Like, it blew me away. It was like some double agent thing, and the cutscenes and the gameplay and the suits you could get. There's so much fun stuff. And the comedy in that thing, man. Like, the part where the guy grabs your junk.
Yep, I remember
and
that.
You push him away, and then he like looks at you again. He grabs your junk again. He's like, "I know the Colonel better than anyone." And then you're just like, "What in the hell?" This guy's like, "What is he like? Grope his soldiers' balls?" I mean,
maybe
there's a lot of funny
it's
stuff
implied.
in those games, and 3 definitely delivers. All right, so the next one I have is one that I actually played through recently, and it is The Last of Us. Now, this game has like more critical acclaim than anything ever as far as a video game goes. It has like a shitload of Game of the Year awards. It's like the most Game of the Year awards ever, and it's crazy good. The gameplay is super fun.
And I haven't touched it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You probably haven't even downloaded it yet, have you?
I did download it, actually.
Okay. It's really good. It's got a stealth feel to it, but you don't have to be stealthy. It's just more fun if you are.
Okay.
And the story is incredible. It's a really good zombie, quote-unquote, game. It's more like a infection. I guess it is a zombie game, but hey, whatever. It's not like bloodthirsty quite to the same extent. It's like
I heard that it takes place in Salt Lake.
There's a level in Salt Lake City, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And the exit looks the same. I'm like, whoa.
Does it look like Salt Lake?
Yeah, and there's the Capitol on the hill, and I was like, geez.
Nice.
They didn't have UTA buses, though. It was like Salt Lake bus or something like that. I was like, damn.
Oh, they didn't have UTA?
No.
You know why? Because fuck UTA.
Yeah, that's why that's
piece
what they
of shit transportation system.
It's supposed to be top notch, they claim, but that's bull.
Yeah, and top notch in 2002. That's when we had the Olympics, and they're like, we had got the best transportation award in 2002.
Yeah,
for the Olympics. It's the only fucking transportation system. Like, you can only nominate one one thing, you're gonna win that award. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And they put that everywhere on their bus. Like 2000. Have you seen the little
I have.
the gold medal on the side of the bus? It's like, fuck you. You're stinky, slow, always late buses.
Yeah.
I hate them.
It's better to be late than early.
Front runner's
though.
okay.
Yeah, the front runner's pretty
Yeah,
good.
the train.
So yeah, Last of Us had a great story, really fun gameplay, and the multiplayer is not bad. It's brutal as hell, but it's still fun going in there and messing people up with a couple buddies. So, all right, so now...
Yeah, it's always fun to mess people up with a couple buddies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, I had to put Civ 5 on my list as well, because it's everything I ever wanted in a game as far as strategy goes. And I love nuking people. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun to play Civ 5.
It really is. And science win for the win.
Science win for the win?
Yes.
What about your culture? You used to always go culture when we went science.
They changed culture.
Oh, and
the
the upgrades, the
Now I
gods
have
and
to-
kings.
Yeah, it's really good, but now I have to influence your culture with my culture, and it's like a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So, next one I got is BioShock Infinite.
More
Now,
than the original BioShock.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I never played Infinite. I've
It's
heard good
really
things.
good. BioShock 1 and 2 are both really good as well, but Infinite it perfected everything. It
Infinite
perfected
is
the-
infinitely better?
I don't know about infinitely better, but they perfected every
Come
bit
on,
of
just
it.
take my pun. Go roll with the pun. Let's... Okay.
Screw your pun. But the gameplay mechanics are perfect. It's seamless. There's no lag. The guns are awesome. The abilities are awesome. The story is incredible. And
A lot of praise.
I think it beats out the first, yeah.
All right.
And then my very favorite Grand Theft Auto game, San Andreas.
You're always into the Grand Theft Autos.
Yeah, I've always liked
What was the
those.
big one that you didn't win?
That I didn't win?
That you didn't beat?
5?
Was it 5, really?
Yeah, I played like half of it.
All I've heard is great things about 5. Just Final Fantasy took over your life, I guess?
Yeah, that's most of it.
Okay.
And it's a longer game. But yeah, San Andreas has everything about a Grand Theft Auto that I loved. It's got flying, it's got freaking shooting people, it's got gangs, you can take over territories. It's a huge game with tons of side missions. And I think it took me like 50 hours to beat it.
Okay.
I played it on PC, and that's doing very little. So it's a long game. It's got a lot of missions, a lot of fun.
I have to admit, I have not played, as I said before, I've not gotten into the Grand Theft Autos. That's for sure. I'm afraid, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm afraid of big sandbox games. I think that
they got good maps.
it's getting into a game that will never let you go.
Yeah, is that why you had to quit Fallout?
That's exactly why I had it. I played Fallout 3 for one day. The entire day. And then I looked at my life and I was like, I can't have this in my life. I will never stop. And so I was like, can't have Fallout 3 here.
Yeah, I know that feeling. And that's a good responsible decision. All right, so the last one, and this may be up there, is Resident Evil 4. Game is fantastic. The gameplay is beautiful. The story is crazy good. It's a little bit of a departure, but I love it. And I think it beats 1 and 3 any day. The only one that comes close to it is Resident Evil 2, I'd say,
Okay.
because of how awesome
I know
it
our
is.
mutual friend Dylan is a huge fan of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, it's got a great gameplay. The story is really good. Same
See,
thing as always.
I hate the fact I tried this game a few times. The standing and shooting thing really bugs the crap out of me. It's
Yeah.
like nothing will kill you more than being like, oh, all these guys are running at me. I better turn around and slowly aim.
That adds to the fear of it, though. It really does. And
It's like, just move and shoot. Let's make this a first-person shooter, please.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to play it someday.
Someday I'll play all these games. I'm sure.
There's a few on yours that
I don't know if I have to say this one more time, but really, outside of Final Fantasy, I'm not a big video game player.
yeah, I think a lot of
I
it's
keep my
because-
video game playing time to a minimum.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because you would just play it like crazy, and you
think I
don't want to
would.
do that.
I don't. I want my life to consist of other things.
Yeah,
And so I'm not necessarily happy just sitting at home playing video games. Like I get like in a depression of like, I should be doing things that are important instead of doing this. But, you have to let that go a little bit. And so, some people choose to read movies or watch movies, read books. And some people choose to play video games. I personally want to do all those things. So the video games kind of have to shrink down a little bit.
Subside a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
I do love video games. I just can't have them take over my life.
Okay, fair enough.
Except I do have a weekly podcast on Final Fantasy, and so I must play Final Fantasy.
And it's totally taking over your life.
It's totally taking over my life. Do we have an iTunes review, Caleb?
You know what we do?
We do have an iTunes review. Can you pull it forward?
Damn it. Yeah, I didn't even have it pulled up.
Oh, did you exit out of it?
I think I did.
I had it pulled up so that we didn't have to do that.
Well,
Okay.
gosh.
All right. Jeez. So Caleb's got to find Final Fantasy in iTunes, and so I got to wait for him just a little bit. Let's just wait. Just love that dead air on the podcast. I love the dead air. Why are you in Sweden?
I was checking.
Caleb said he was in Sweden on the iTunes, so way to go. Did you really think we were going to have a Swedish review?
I was hoping.
Okay, Caleb, just to let you know, we don't have to check for other countries anymore.
Why not?
Because I signed up for a free service that once a month will give us all of our iTunes reviews from every country. And so if there's something that we haven't seen before, we'll see it that once a month. And we haven't had any notes.
I did not know that.
Okay, well, I'm telling you right now, and I should have told you off the air.
All right, well, whatever. It's too late now.
Yep, it's too late. You going to read this 3-star review from 3-star?
Yeah, this is sad.
It is sad.
All right, so this is from Halsey Gilson.
Gleason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, so it's just good enough to not to unsubscribe. Ugh. A 3-star review. All right, so they say, I appreciate that these guys keep doing this podcast. It's better than nothing. Okay. All right, that's fine. I love the format of playing each game in the series.
love that you do it every time. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I love the
Thanks.
format of playing each of the games in the series and doing retrospectives on each one. I'm not aware of another podcast like this. Otherwise, I'd switch. I'm not sure that I've heard
Retro
a single...
RPG podcast.
Yeah.
Damn Chocobo.
Have fun switching. But,
Lightning and Terra's RPG show or something like that.
yeah. I'm not sure that I've heard a single mature or intelligent episode. I don't think they put much thought into the subject matter. What would make this a 5-star review? I would like to hear more in-depth discussions about the characters and stories. I wish this was a podcast with more informative content like verified trivia, development history, and each game's significance in the context of the Final Fantasy series as a whole. Keep it up with the news segments and community questions. So every one of those points is something that we do.
It's something that we do on at least review episodes. I feel like we go way more in depth than anyone on iTunes does.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that it's not enough for you, Halsey.
Halsey, yeah.
Halsey. I mean,
there are other shows out there, but there
are other shows, but
you can listen to them and give them a review too. So
yeah, please do.
now I do appreciate the.
It's constructive. It's not.
It is constructive. It's not like harmful or anything, but it's not like some of the dickish ones that we've gotten before. So, I feel offended at the no intelligent conversations. I mean,
I can't say anything about our maturity.
Yeah,
On
it's
the
a Final
episodes.
Fantasy podcast.
It's a Final Fantasy podcast. We're two dudes, and we're dirty, and we really clean it up for this show. I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
However, we do really on our review episodes and our spotlight episodes, especially our spotlight episodes, we go as in depth as we can.
Yeah, we find as much as we can. Now, some of it may be incorrect, like the Nojima thing and the Nomura thing.
They don't know about that yet.
No, they don't. But
We need to talk about that in a second.
We do.
But yeah, we try.
Yeah,
so sorry.
Well, thanks for not unsubscribing at least. Yeah. And thanks for the review. We do appreciate it. I
Yes.
mean, not everyone can, blow us. We only have so much stamina. So,
Maturity.
yeah. No, but speaking of, we have a correction.
We do.
And this is one that I messed up, but I had a bad source. Apparently, Nomura had a lot more to do with FF7 than I initially thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I knew he played a part in the story, but apparently he played a part in writing the entirety of it. So,
Okay, he didn't write the entirety of it. He played a part.
He helped. He helped write it. He helped rewrite the story.
Okay.
But the big one that I messed up on was when I said that...
this was during the FF7 review episode.
Maybe. It was either that or the Spotlight.
It was.
I know I said it in the Spotlight,
In the
too.
Spotlight.
Of Kazushige Nojima.
Mm-hmm.
I said that he was the one that initially announced or that created the idea of Aerith dying.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not him. It was
Nomura.
Nomura,
who said it in an interview. Someone posted it on our forum talking about it, and we were like, what?
Yeah,
so we double-checked the source, and the source's source was incorrectly quoted.
Right, yeah, it had like a thing with Nomura and Nojima, yeah. Man, their names are rough for me for some reason. Where they each had their contributions and they were talking about what they helped with. And Nomura's was above and Nojima's was below, and they somehow mixed that up.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, he's right. Well, that's interesting.
So Nomura was it Aerith's death?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one that orchestrated that into the plot. So I feel like that was an important piece.
Yeah. So sorry about that. If you have any other corrections you'd like to send us, please do.
Yeah, please do. We want to know if we mess up. I mean, it's important to us to keep accuracy if we can. It's tough because it's all, like wikis and with sources, and it's like, sometimes stuff gets muddled like that. Mm-hmm. So we would really like to know. We got a section for it.
So our question from us to you last week was, what would be a better prize for this future event that you're going to have? And do you remember what which side of the poll was winning, whether or not a Final Fantasy VII download or a Final Fantasy XIV maybe 30-day card or something like that? What would be the better prize? Do you remember what it was?
Now, the better prize, I believe it was the 14 thing.
Okay. So Final Fantasy XIV for however many days. I believe you could probably get like a 30-day card for that.
Yeah, no, we could. Okay. And that's probably what it'll be. That's what I
Right.
That's what I initially wrote it, and of course that's going to
get some more people on Final Fantasy XIV a little bit.
Yeah, you guys can play with us, and get on the TeamSpeak, and I'll be broadcasting every moment of it, so you guys will be on there. Okay. And of course, I don't know if we talked about this, but when we do the review for 14, I was worried about this because how we did 11, we had the guys we played with on the episode. Mm-hmm. Have we discussed this on the podcast?
Not sure what you're going for.
Here's what I think we should do. This is what we're going to do. I say. The guys that played with us last time, if they play 14 with us again, we'll do the episode with them. Because of their loyalty, willing to play 11 with us. Everyone else can be part of the stream. They'll be part of the YouTube retrospective of me playing it because they'll be on the TeamSpeak. But I think we should have those guys back for the episode if they're willing. And I'm pretty sure most of them will be. If not all.
Bandrum, Krinital, Art, Darth Jamu.
Yeah. Maybe
so
not
the people
Jamu.
who originally played 11 with us will be part of the review episode for 14.
They're invited for it, yeah.
I think we should invite more than that.
Yeah, maybe. The problem is
it depends on who plays with us, and I think we should make a decision based on that. Like if 20 people play with us,
we can't have 20.
We can't have 20 people onto one podcast. You're right.
That's why I wanted to do that. So we'll figure it out, but that's an idea. So the contest will be a Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay. We're still not sure what the contest is. You have to work out some details.
Yeah,
I understand that. So just keep your heads out in the future. Keep looking out for it.
Yeah, we'll post it
on the Twitch or on this podcast. Our question from us to you this week. Now, we weren't able to do an interview today with the dude.
Yeah, the dude.
The dude who did the project. We just couldn't get a hold of him. We really tried, and we tried to set it up yesterday. It just didn't work out. Who knows what happened. Now, we're not going to try to get interviews yet with people like high up in Square Enix or anything like that. This is a smaller show. Don't have that much influence on like Twitter or anything like that to be able to say, hey, interview, please.
Yeah.
But is there anyone in the FF fan community, maybe someone who had a website or something like that, or maybe some of the old translators for the game, like Ted Woolsey? Who would you guys be most interested in us interviewing.
Okay.
Yeah, so if there's anyone in the FF community, the lower FF community, so not part of Square Enix necessarily, who you would be interested in hearing from, I would like to know.
All right.
So that's our question from us to you this week.
That's a fair question. I mean, we'll go on and we'll kind of just look at all of them, and whichever one we find most interesting, we'll choose. There can't really be a poll because it's stuff you guys want. But
so I think we're running out of time here. So just to let you guys know, get on youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy, Twitter, we're at UFF Podcast, Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Please support us on Patreon. Please give us a 5-star or just give us an iTunes review, but 5 stars would be nice so that we can read it next time on the show. You can find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy, and go to our website, ultimafinalfantasy.com, and please join our forums, okay? So I think that's going to be it for this week. Y'all have a good week.
Enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.